This is Christian Bale. 5 months later, this is also Christian Bale. But this is an artist who doesn't just play a part, he practically rewrites his own DNA for every role he does.
You pay this guy to be unstable and crazy, right? And then when he's unstable and crazy, you go, oh, that's disgraceful.
Let's not take a minute, let's go again!
Pushing his body and mind to limits that don't just seem crazy, they seem downright insane.
Denying yourself food really kind of puts you in a bizarre mental state.
From a child star who didn't want the spotlight to a method actor who literally disappears into his roles. This is the story of how Christian Bale erases himself, not just for his art, but to protect his own sanity. But who is the real Christian Bale? To understand The Man Who Vanishes, you have to go back to the boy everyone saw. In 1987, a 13-year-old Christian Bale was handpicked by Steven Spielberg from over 4,000 other kids for the lead in the World War II epic Empire of the Sun. His performance as Jim Graham earned him rave reviews and newfound fame.
Have you also given any thought to not turning into an insufferable brat?
Yeah,
Wait, was there a more delicate way to you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But the fame that lit up his talent also cast a very dark shadow. At school, he became a target for bullying and aggression. The experience was so brutal, he grew to despise the very profession that made him a star.
What about young kids who get all this attention initially and suddenly...
Yeah, I hope I don't become like that. I want to just carry on as normal.
Alongside the social pressure, Bale has also described a heavy sense of obligation. Acting became a way to help support his family, even when all he wanted was a normal life. He's called it a kind of prison, a responsibility that started a deep love-hate relationship with acting that has defined his career. This early trauma is the key. It's the origin story for his fierce protection of his privacy and why his vanishing act is a psychological necessity. He learned a hard lesson early on. To survive Hollywood, he had to build a fortress around his real self. After his chaotic start, Bale kept working, but in 2000 he truly redefined his career with American Psycho. To embody the vain, narcissistic Patrick Bateman, Bale did something new for him. He hit the gym hard.
Physically, it was essential. It wasn't just the vanity of an actor that Bateman have a six-pack and all of that. He talks about it. He's incredibly narcissistic, much as the same way as I would arrive on the set, put on the suits, have my hair done and everything, makeup, and then be able to play Bateman. He does exactly the same thing in his mornings with his routine. He puts on his mask in order to be able to perform, for the rest of the day. So, I had to work out like crazy for that.
He put himself through a grueling workout schedule and a strict diet of lean protein to get Bateman's ridiculously sculpted physique. He even had his teeth capped because he knew for this character, the surface was everything. The performance was a chilling, satirical masterpiece, and it was the first real sign that Bale was willing to physically reshape himself for a role. But if American Psycho was about building a perfect exterior, his next iconic role was about total decay. This brings us to The Machinist. To play Trevor Resnick, a factory worker wasting away from a year of insomnia, Bale undertook one of the most extreme physical transformations in film history.
Bale decided the psychological aspects of the character were so deeply connected to his physicality that faking the change would compromise the performance, and so he embarked on a brutal diet and exercise routine that eventually slid into extreme starvation.
For months he survived on a dangerously low-calorie diet, a single can of tuna and 1 apple per day. That plus black coffee and water amounted to roughly 200 calories daily. He also chain smoked to kill his appetite.
I have to do the part justice, and it's essential that the guy be incredibly gaunt. He looks very sick, he looks very pale, as though he's headed to, the executioners or something. He's really not taking care of himself at all, he's literally being eaten away by guilt.
He dropped an incredible 63 pounds, shrinking from 180 to 120. It was more than just a physical stunt. It was a complete erasure of Christian Bale himself. By now it was clear the real Bale wasn't showing up on screen at all. He was vanishing, leaving only the character. And if he could erase himself to become a walking skeleton, what would happen when he had to become a superhero just a few months later? The skeletal image of Trevor Resnick was still burned into the public's mind when Christian Bale did the unthinkable. In just 6 months, he had to become Batman. After wrapping The Machinist, Bale slammed his body into reverse, eating up to 5 meals at a time, combined with intense weightlifting, he packed on so much mass he actually overshot the goal.
And a number of the crew, they looked at me and they were like, bloody hell, Chris, what are we doing here? Fatman or Batman?
When I first met Christian, he was extraordinarily thin.
I just listened to what he said about get as big as you possibly can. He didn't really think I was going to get that big. So I realized, okay, that's not what he had meant. So I had to then try and lose a lot of weight.
The Dark Knight Trilogy became a historic success. But what stood out wasn't just the muscles, it was the way Bale carried Bruce Wayne with him, even when the cameras weren't rolling. Then came The Fighter, to play Dickie Eklund, a real-life boxer ravaged by addiction. Bale dropped weight again and immersed himself so completely in his character's restless energy that even the real Eklund said Bale had captured him perfectly. The performance won him an Academy Award, but more importantly, it confirmed a pattern. Whenever Bale takes on a role, Christian Bale the person disappears.
What's the reason why you thought maybe you couldn't manage it? Was it anything specific?
Well, look at him. Look at me. Right?
Well, look at your other performances. If anyone can transform...
But, I know, but this is, I think, stretch above that. Even.
And perhaps the most unsettling proof came with Vice. What made this transformation different was what it revealed about him. Bulking up to look heroic could still be seen as extremes of discipline, but deliberately making yourself heavier, slower and unhealthy, that's not about vanity, that's about erasing any trace of yourself.
So I was like, I've got to build up my neck, and I put a good few inches on my neck. I was lifting all these weights again, and just eating a lot.
I'd always laugh at people when they went, can't you just put on a fat suit? I'd be like, haha, you're naive, you don't think.
Bale admitted the constant weight fluctuations had taken a serious toll on his health, but he didn't care. For him, it was never about preserving Christian Bale, it was about disappearing so completely into Dick Cheney that people forgot Bale was even there. By now, it was impossible to ignore. Whether he was a superhero, a crack addict, or the Vice President of the United States, these extreme examples proved Bale's approach to acting is absolute. Even when a transformation isn't required, he becomes the character completely. And that raises the question, if every public version of him is a character, then who is Christian Bale when the cameras stop rolling? Does that person even exist? For an actor who spends so much of his life becoming other people, the man himself is almost a ghost. Unlike many of his peers, Christian Bale has no social media presence. He avoids red carpets unless contractually obligated.
Then it was when I started doing the press. I didn't get that. I couldn't understand that. And I didn't understand why I had to keep talking about the same thing all day long. And I was starting to go insane, and then people follow me around or whatever. And so that was when I went, oh, no, this isn't for me.
Christian Bale is such a shapeshifter that he's a completely different guy almost every time.
Yeah.
You see him.
And Christian is a good example of somebody, he'll stay in the voice and in the physicality of the character for the entire time.
One of the clearest signs of this vanishing act is his voice. In interviews, Bale often slips into the same accent as the role he's playing.
The movie's fantastic, but you know what? Wouldn't have been anything without this guy's life.
And when I received the script, thinking that, I wasn't that excited about it, really.
Bizarre mental state. And that's exactly where I'm going to be.
And so just doing that, just practicing until it becomes sort of natural.
It's actually been very helpful for, my performance.
It's as if the role doesn't end when the cameras stop. Even off set, Bale stays submerged inside the character. But this kind of intensity doesn't just stay on screen, it can spill over.
I have no confusion whatsoever. I was out of order beyond belief. I was way out of order. I acted like a punk. I regret that.
In 2009, while filming Terminator Salvation, Bale completely lost it when a cameraman walked into his eye line during a scene.
Give me a answer! What don't you get about it?
The leaked audio of his profanity-filled rant spread everywhere, and suddenly the headlines weren't about Batman or Oscar nominations, they were about whether Christian Bale had finally gone too far.
I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. You don't shut up for a second, alright? I'm gonna go. You want me to go fucking trash your lights? Do you want me to fucking trash them? Then why are you trashing my scene? You are trashing my scene.
Bale wasn't just the actor who disappeared into roles anymore. He was the actor who might snap if he broke the illusion.
There is nobody that has heard that tape that is hit harder by it than me. I make no excuses for it. It is inexcusable.
So why does he do it? Why the punishing diets, the complete erasure of self? The answer isn't about ego, it's about survival, and maybe even insecurity. Bale has no formal drama school training. He's admitted he often feels like he's winging it on set, that he can't just switch it on like other actors.
You just do it for a long time. I'm a bit glacial in the way that I'm not quick, I'm not a good impersonator either. It takes a long time for me to learn anything, I'm quite slow.
His solution is total transformation. Change the body, change the mind, destroy Christian Bale so the character can live. His co-stars see this firsthand.
I mean, I'm always blown away by his level of commitment and preparation, and you know.
I've got nothing else, so if I don't do this, there's nothing.
He isn't the faces he wears, he isn't a celebrity brand. He's a man who erases himself so that those faces can exist.
Christian is a lovely boy. I know him very well, take my word for it.
Away from the cameras, Bale is a husband, a father, and someone deeply committed to helping kids in need.
And of course, mostly my wonderful wife. I didn't think I was like this. I thought I said, my wonderful wife, who's my mast through the storms of life. I hope I'm likewise to you, darling.
He's quietly supported foster care programmes, children's hospitals, and countless charities without ever seeking attention for it.
The thing that disturbs me so much is that I've heard a lot of people saying that I seem to think I'm better than anybody else. And nothing could be farther from the truth.
Acting isn't about fame or recognition either.
What a room full of talented and inspirational people, and what the hell am I doing here in the midst of you?
It's about survival, yes, but it's also about escape. He disappears into roles not to lose himself, but so he can come back to something real, a private life far away from the spotlight.
I'm not familiar, I'm not comfortable yet with this notion of being a movie star. I'm an actor, and I don't quite know how to handle the movie star thing.
Maybe that's the real Christian Bale. Someone who gives every part of himself to his art, but guards the rest fiercely. Someone who disappears into roles on screen, but in real life would rather blend into the crowd. An actor we all know, and a man very few really do. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe.